Alright, so welcome back to the last part of our discussion, the third section, which tackles the agrarian relations in the Friar Lands. So in this section, I will be providing a short history of the dynamics of land ownership in the Philippines during Rizal's times. So it discusses the Hacienda system in connection with the existence of Friar Lands. Specifically, it mentions conflicts arising from the Hacienda system and shows their impacts on the Philippine society and on the family of Rizal as an inquilino or inquilinos. So the history of the Friar Lands. The existence of Friar Lands in the Philippines can be traced back to early Spanish colonial period when Spanish conquistadors were awarded lands in the form of haciendas for their loyalty to the Spanish crown. And approximately 120 Spaniards were granted either large tracts of land called Sitio de Ganado, Mayor, or smaller tracts called Caballeras. Yeah. So, however, the hacienderos, those who owned the haciendas, failed to develop their lands. And one reason is that the Spaniards were not expected to permanently stay in the Philippines. And many of them returned to Spain once they were done serving in the country. Also, the livestock market during this time was still small. Thus, the galleon trade based in Manila appealed more to the Spaniards because it offered better economic opportunities. And the Spanish friars were able to acquire land through whatever means available to them. And according to sources, lands were donated to the friars in exchange for spiritual favors. So many Filipinos believed that the friars had no titles to the lands they owned because they acquired them through usurpation and other dubious means. So when the export of agricultural crops started to blossom in the 18th century, the inquilinato system was put into place. So in the system, one who rented land for a fixed annual amount, an inquilino was expected to give personal services to the landlords. So if he or she failed to do so, he or she would be expelled from the land. So the inquilinos could also lease the land they were renting, from the landlord to a kasama or sharecropper who would then be responsible for cultivating the land. So the inquilinato system functioned as a three-layered system with the landlords on top and the inquilinos in the middle and the kasamas at the bottom. Now, let's have the Hacienda Dispute. So the Hacienda de Calamba was originally owned by a Spaniard who donated the land to Jesuit friars to allow him to permanently stay in the Jesuit monastery. However, since the Jesuits were expelled from the Philippines, the hacienda went to the possession of the Spanish colonial government. In 1803, the land was sold to Don Clemente de Azanza, and then after his death, it was eventually sold to Dominicans who claimed ownership of the hacienda until 19th century. Well, Rizal's family became one of the principal inquilinos of the hacienda. They rented one of the largest leased parcel of the land, measuring approximately 380 hectares. Okay, so the main crop was sugarcane since it was the most in demand in the world market then. The Rizal family got their income mainly from the land they rented. And however, when conflicts on land ownership in the hacienda arose in 1883, the family evidently suffered. So doon nagsimula ang paghihirap ng pamilya Rizal noong mawala sa kanila ang ownership ng Calamba, o Hacienda de Calamba. And that concludes the discussion for this lesson. So I hope you guys learned something, and that's it. So see you again next week.